Welcome to The Common Fan, your go-to podcast for SEC smack talk, top 25 game day predictions, and fan-first football takes in college or the NFL. Here is your host, Bryce Tillman. So grab a drink, pull up a chair, and let's talk ball.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of The Common Fan. I'm your host, Bryce Tillman, and thank you so much for making us a listen every single day. Joining me, as always, is Cameron Williams, and today we have a special host, Mr. Blake Lane, from host of Auburn at the Voice of College Football Network, going to be coming in, and we're going to be breaking down the Auburn versus Baylor game of the Week 1 matchup Friday night in Waco, Texas. And Blake, this game, man, I know with you being an Auburn fan, it has had chills in my spine for months now.
Yeah, Bryce, I think this game is massive for Auburn, and not only for this fan base. I think it's massive for the program and Hugh Freeze. And, I think this is probably the biggest game in the last 5 years for the Auburn Tigers. And I truly mean that. I just think you have to get out. You got to get out of the gate and get out on the right foot. And if you don't, I know what this fan base is about, and I know what they're going to do, man. So we got to get things going Friday night.
Yeah, and Cameron, you was talking about it the other day with us, and you made a good point. And while your preseason projections might have offended me a little bit, I see your point from it. And just touch on what you think and what you're saying that you got to see from Auburn before you can give them any credit as to how they'll win this season.
Yeah, so I mean, you had talked, and so some of the stats that we've gone through is we know that Jackson come from a pretty bad offensive front from Oklahoma. How many knockdowns was it last year, Bryce?
He was knocked down 90% of the time, and he was rushed 90% of the time, and between sacks and knockdowns, he was 55 times.
Okay, so we didn't get to see what he could do. So
Yep.
Statistically, he fell almost dead last in the SEC quarterback rankings because of that. So we don't really know what he can do. We feel like we know what he can do, but to back that up, I feel like he's behind a lot better line. I feel like he's got a lot better offense around him. I mean, arguably the best wide receiver room. We talked about that a bunch.
Yeah.
Baylor come off of a hot streak. That's the only thing that was a kicker for me. They won their last 6 games last year. They got hot. I feel like they've had some momentum ending the season, but me and you talked, and I'm even kind of backpedaling. I mean, we even talked about our bookie stats there. I'm picking Auburn on every one of them. But my prediction when we had our predictions was Baylor was going to win it just because of the experience there. And I'll kind of backpedal a little bit, but I want to see how Jackson Arnold does.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. Before we get down and breaking this game, we're just going to do a quick ad reading real quick. All right, so this episode is brought to you by Sharp 42 AG. For the Common Fan podcast, is proudly sponsored by Joe Allen. If you're ready to take your college football Saturdays, NFL Sundays to the next level, Sharp42.ag has you covered. With sharp betting lines, expert analysts, and fastest payouts in the game, Sharp42.ag makes sure you never miss out on your chance to win big. Thank you, Joe Allen, for making this possible and for supporting fans like us who live and breathe college football and NFL. So don't just watch the games. Get in on the action. Visit Sharp42.ag today. Bet smarter for the best price. If you're interested in this, just comment below. We will get you hooked up on that. But, yeah, I agree, Cameron. That's been the main topic. And, we've talked back and forth with this. When you break down Jackson Arnold, right, and you talk about his situation that he was in last year, I've said it several times in the show, and I'll continue to say it until he proves me wrong or until this team proves me wrong. But he was in a terrible situation, right? 3 offensive coordinators in 1 year. Injury bug bitten offensive line was basically down to almost walk-ons blocking for him. And the wide receivers got hit hard on injuries too, and the ones that were out there were, as I say all the time, Edward Scissorhands. I mean, it would either hit it and drop or hit it and the ball would just disappear. They didn't know what happened. So a lot of times it felt like Jackson Arnold had to rely on his legs and escape the pocket. And, with any rushing quarterback or dual threat quarterback, the more times that they run it, the more times they're prone to fumble the ball. So to me, I see everybody's point on Jackson having to wait and see. But I feel like people are saying that more often than giving him credit for the better position that he actually is in now. And I think that that's due to Auburn having a losing record in the last 5 years.
Guys, I'll say this about Jackson. You have the keys to a luxury car. All right. You got the keys to a Maserati. Just don't wreck it.
Yeah.
Just don't wreck it. All right, Bryce, Cam, you just don't just avoid the crucial turnover in the second half. And I feel like that's what Auburn couldn't do. And it wasn't all on Peyton Thorne, but it was fumbling the football in the end zone as you're going into score against Arkansas. I really feel like that changed that entire game last year with Damari. And you throw the 3 picks in the first half with Hank Brown, and it was just a turnover thing for Auburn last year. So if you can reduce those turnovers and keep yourself in ball games, go back and look at Auburn's record last year. Yeah, it was 5-7, but they were in every game. They didn't get blown out. You just have to cut down on the mistakes, stop the turnovers, and let Jackson Arnold get comfortable in this offense. And I think with the way he can use his legs, he can get out, make plays. He's very athletic. He's got a strong arm, man, and it just facilitate. Be a Chris Paul, man. Be the point guard and just facilitate the football to the open man. And look, I was listening to C5, and they were talking about trust the play that is called. Trust the play that is called. Don't overthink things. And I think that's a lot of what happened last year was communication was key, and it wasn't there for that offense. And there was a lot of second guessing of the play call, protections, all that type of stuff. We just need Jackson to go out there, run what's called, trust your head coach, trust your offensive coordinator, and trust the guys around you, Bryce.
Yeah. And so, and from most of the news that we've gotten out of fall camp, it's pretty much been that, right? I know there was some times that, and Justin Hokuston and Nathan King, they're the world's worst about putting this crap out there, and I'm not scared to call them out on it. They will find any little thing they can to make Auburn. They love seeing Auburn fans go in panic. Love to see them blow up. It's just more clickbait for them. But there was more positive than bad that come out of fall camp. And one thing in particular was that Jackson is handling the ball well. He's making the right decisions. Now, at times, Freeze made a comment about how he was possibly staying in the pocket a little too long, but that was more or less due to not having a live defense there in front of him, because if there's a live defense there in front of him and he's getting rushed, Jackson's the type of kid that can get out and make 6-7 yards on a QB scramble. Now, do I want him doing that 20 times a game? Absolutely not. But I don't think he's going to have to, especially not with this Baylor defense. That's not taking a knock at him. That's just saying that I just think physically we just match up, and we're going to get into that later in the show in a couple of these topics. But I just feel like Auburn physically outmatches Baylor in every aspect, and I think it's going to show Friday night. But some of the news out of Falls camp coming in was that Eric Singleton, he's been in a yellow jersey during fall camp, had a deep thigh bruise, and they were just kind of taking it with a precautionary. And it seems like that today that he come out, he was running with the ones. Of course, there was no contact, and said that he'll be 100% by Friday. But now, Blake, I know you keep up with this. There's another one here that, man, he just can't catch a break. I know. I've been talking with Cameron about it too. Alex McPherson, he's been going through some terrible health issues when it comes to some stomach problems. I don't know the correct medical term for it. I didn't look it up, but basically just having trouble keeping
ulcerative colitis, right?
That's right. That is right. He's just having a hard time keeping food down. He's been losing a lot of power, losing a lot of weight. He just doesn't have the strength in his foot. Now, Hugh Freeze did make note of that it would be up to him on Friday, that he was going to leave that up to Alex. And, listening to Zach and them in the shows today on Locked on Auburn was they're kind of taking that as the doctors are kind of just saying that they don't have an issue with him playing. It's just up to him and how comfortable he is on that.
Mm-hmm. Look, man, with Alex, first off, I think it's more now of this is bigger than football, in my opinion. You're talking about off the field, man, your life moving forward and things like that. Do I want him out on the field? Yes. Do I think he's one of the best kickers in the country? Yes. But if he can't go, I think you have to have Towns Magoo step up, and he has to improve from what we saw last season. And I think that's why the Auburn fan base is in, I don't want to say panic mode, but they're a little reserved because they saw disaster last year with Alex not there. And so you hope that he's healthy. I think Cole Pinkston reported that he hit from 50 today. So that's a positive sign. And I hope he's ready to go Friday, because it's not a knock on Towns, y'all. It's really not. I know he was a true freshman, and I know he got put in a couple bad situations, but you have to be better. You were a highly recruited kicker. You had a social media video come out about how you turned down Ole Miss and decided to stay in your home and go to Auburn. And I think you have to be better, because there might be a time where you're called upon this year, and it might be Friday night if Alex isn't feeling it. So it's something that I think a lot of people overlook in special teams. And I know what Baylor has as a kicker, and I need Auburn's best out there Friday night, because Baylor's loaded on special teams. So I need Auburn to match that.
Yeah, and Towns did kick a 60-yarder today.
Love that.
So I did see that note in. And, who was the kicker, Blake, that Auburn had that his freshman year he come out and was not very good? Was it Anders or Carlson? And they come back the following year and was almost damn near perfect in the season. But one of them, I remember seeing a video drop on it a while back, and it that sparked from the struggles with Towns, and it was basically, and I'll go back and find it, but it was one of them that was basically kind of giving him and the team encouragement that he can bounce back from it. But Cam, I know that you had a question for Blake, and I want to dive into some of these questions for him, because I know he's eager to dive into that. So I'm going to let you take it away right here on some of these questions that you wanted to ask Blake.
Yeah, so we've talked about the receiving room. Up against Baylor, I feel like there's going to have to be some established run game. Do you feel like that they're going to need to run the ball effectively to ensure the win?
So I've been an Auburn fan my entire life, and I'll tell you this. I think Auburn football's bread and butter is to run the football, and that's how it's always been. And so I love the shiny the objects outside that we got, and they're great and everything, but Auburn has got to go Friday night, and you got to establish the line of scrimmage, and you got to get Damari Alston going. And if you can establish that run game and Damari starts cooking, that's only going to open up Cam Coleman, Eric Singleton Jr. I love the clip. I talked about it on Twitter the other day where Cam says, "Give me that post, man." And if Damari starts popping, that's going to open up Cam on that deep ball. And I also think, man, not only just Damari, I think Jeremiah Cobb has to get on the field and catch the ball out of the backfield. Get him out in space. He's an electric playmaker, and we haven't gotten the chance to see him at Auburn really. So I want to see him Friday night. Get on the field, man, and make a difference. But I do think it starts with Damari. I think he's running back one. I think he takes the first snap. And people are a little worried about the fumbling issue. I feel like he corrected that towards the end of last year. So I'm excited to see him go. But Cam, I think they got to get after it, man. Baylor's in that 3-3-5, and I just think it's the perfect opportunity to go out there, play smash mouth football, and run it right down their throat.
Yeah, and when you look at the 3-3-5 defense, it just seems like that we're so big up front, and I just feel like we're going to physically outmatch their three down linemen. And the guy in the three technique, I know I have the roster, I have to pull it up. I know his name, but I mean, he's big, but I don't think he's physical like our offensive line, right? And when you get in that 3-3-5 and you're blowing off the line of scrimmage and that's opening up 3 or 4 yards of carry, I mean, Damari Austin has shown times that he can make explosive plays. But, I mean, realistically, all you've got to do is get 3 or 4 yards of carry every time, so that's all it takes.
Bryce,
go ahead.
No, only thing I was going to say is I don't know if you saw the little argument or back and forth between Auburn and Baylor fans about the trenches today on Twitter and their defensive line being able to hold up. I can't wait for Friday night because I think that's going to be the tale of the tape. And we all know that's where football games are won. You can have all the great skill positions and all that good stuff. But if you don't control that line of scrimmage, man, you're not going to win many football games. So I just think Auburn is better from top to bottom than Baylor in that area. And I know they got a couple pieces in the transfer portal and things like that, but
none have been named starters, by the way. Talking about on Baylor's side. None of Baylor's transfer additions have been named starters.
And my thing is you go out with Auburn and you address the one spot, or I guess you could say 2 spots, that you really needed, and that's to have a right tackle and a left tackle. Because if you don't have tackles in the Southeastern Conference, you ain't got an offensive line. So they addressed it, and if those 2 pan out that you got out of the portal, I think this Auburn offensive line is going to be pretty dang good.
So I was, going back, touching on Baylor's defensive line. I want to ask you a quick question. Mm-hmm. Would you say, because this was a hurting area on LSU last year, would you say LSU's line last year, aside from the tackle that got drafted, I mean, he was great. Would you say that their offensive line overall last year is better than Auburn's upcoming line this year?
If LSU's offensive line last year is better than Auburn's this year, we're in trouble. Because I don't think they were very good.
What about LSU's second string line? Because that's who played in that Baylor game last year. They all set out.
And they dominated.
And Nussmeier did not get sacked in that game, by the way.
And look, I know Baylor fans might watch this and you might feel different, and that's fine. I'm tired of people saying that game was close. That bowl game was not close. It wasn't close.
Their points come in the fourth quarter when literally third strings were on the field.
It wasn't close. So I've just heard, and I heard Hugh give credit to Baylor about playing LSU, and they kept it close. That game was not close. So,
like, if Auburn loses this game, does a loss to Baylor mean more to this season for Auburn than just a simple L in the column?
Guys, I think, like I opened up with, man, I think this one is massive for Auburn, because if you lose it, not only are you gonna light the internet on fire Friday night, all right, the talking heads around college football are going to start questioning what's going on at Auburn. Can Hugh Freeze get it done? You can't even go out to Waco, Texas and win a game. You know the narratives that are going to be written. And I then look at what you have coming up on your schedule. You have a trip to Norman. You got to go to College Station. Then you got Georgia coming to Jordan-Hare. I understand that's a massive game. It's the Deep South's oldest rivalry. I get it. but they have dominated you for years. And so if you lose that Baylor game, now it starts to look really bad. And you're staring down the barrel of possibly 2-4 after that Georgia game. And so, man, if Auburn comes out the gate 2-4, fellas, I don't know how this fan base is going to take that, because once again, your biggest rival is going to be pretty dang good, and they're going to be competing for a college football playoff spot while you're sitting over here at 2-4. And I don't think it can start like that. And it's going to be another year of, well, Auburn, there goes Auburn. Auburn this, they can't get it done. Hugh Freeze, he just all he cares about is recruiting and playing golf, and he don't care about coaching in game on Saturdays and all that stuff. I think Auburn has to go out there, and I think they have to not only win. I think it's got to be an impressive showing, y'all.
Dominant performance.
Yes, I want them to go out there, and I'll tell y'all this. For the past 5 years, have we had, I think we've had solid defenses, not anything that I grew up on, but I felt like we've had pretty good defenses to keep us in ball games, right? The offenses just haven't carried the weight. But I feel like this defense has a headhunter's mentality, and I feel like they will come downhill and absolutely rock you. And I haven't felt that way in a minute about Auburn. And I want to see them take Baylor's soul in that first drive. I want to see Champ Anthony send a message that first drive and say, hey, we are here and you're going to fill us for 60 minutes. That's the Auburn that I want to see.
And Cameron, you was talking, and that's when we was talking about it the other day, was where you was saying that if Auburn can come out and be physical and win this game, your record prediction on them, if they come out with a good showing, will completely change, and you're not scared to backtrack that. But it's just down to this point now where you're kind of like and quite frankly, you're a lot like the rest of us. We just got a little bit of our orange and blue goggles on and just kept up with them all off season to know that what this team has built and and what they're looking to be. But I can't remember, Blake. It's been, to my knowledge, I don't even know if it's ever been in my life that Auburn's had this many highly talented 4-star, 5-star athletes in their secondary on their defense.
Man, it's been a minute, and I tell you, the depth in that room is unreal. And I mean, you just look at the guys that you brought in, guys like Woodby, man. I think he could be one of the greats at Auburn. He might not play a lot this year, but if he sticks around and stays at Auburn, and we know how the transfer portal area is, but if he stays, man, under DJ Durkin, I think he could be a great one to come out of Auburn. There's just so much talent back there. You look at New Boy Fagans, man. Hey, I went and watched him at the Mississippi Alabama All-Star game, and that dude is a highlight reel.
Yeah.
I mean, him and Deuce Knight were going back and forth, and he picked Deuce off to win the game, to seal it. And so watching them two future Auburn Tigers go at it was pretty cool. But I think he's going to get on the field. I do. I think he's going to be around the line of scrimmage, and it was pretty cool seeing him at the nickel on the depth chart, because I feel like you got to play him there because I know he can cover, and he can also come off that nickel spot and go get in the backfield. So there's a lot of talent back there, Bryce.
Blake, I wanted to ask you another question. So there's a lot of hype around Cam Coleman.
Yeah.
And so if you got the deepest wide receiver room, arguably in the nation, do you feel like that he will live up to that hype as being singled out as explosive player, or do you think there's so many weapons in that room that it's going to be balanced, spread out, and everybody's going to have a good showing?
That's a good question.
I feel like everybody is going to have a good showing, but I feel like Cam Coleman is your guy, and I feel like he exceeds everything that he did last year. I feel like you go back and you watch Auburn's season last year. First thing is he had a tough time getting acclimated to college football. And, was it the offense and all that, it was sputtering, the loss to Cal, all that stuff. But when he started becoming the focal point the last, 4 games of the year, 3 games of the year, they really started highlighting Cam and getting the football to him. And he couldn't be covered. And even in the Alabama game, I mean, that route was absolutely filthy. His adjustment to the football, not many guys in the country can play with Cam Coleman. And so I think you're going to see him have a big showing Friday night. But I also think Auburn's going to be able to spread it around. I think you're going to highlight Eric Singleton Jr. Hopefully he's healthy. Hughes talked about Horatio Fields. I think that's a massive pickup. I need to see the emergence of Perry Thompson. And I got to see him come on.
I'm craving that. I mean, they're talking about this kid that is a Cameron. I know you've seen him. He is built like just a monster. And he's running, 21 plus mile an hour down the field in a straightaway. Like, I was listening to this on a podcast today where it was like, if Jackson Arnold's getting in trouble, just start throwing fades. Just let Perry run to the ball. Just figure it out, man. So
third down and 6. Slant, get the first down. Cam Coleman's your guy. Is that what you're saying? That's who his first read is.
I
not on a slant. I'm saying no. I'm saying no on a slant. I don't think Cam will be his first read on a slant.
Well, I think Keandre took that role last year and was the go-to guy there. So it would probably be, like an Eric Singleton there. But I think Cam, man, I don't care if you got to throw him a hitch. Just get it to your best player. That's my biggest thing is with Hugh last year. Some of the questionable stuff that went on, I always highlight the Oklahoma game. It's 3rd and 4. I get you want to throw the football. I get that it's in your DNA. But Jarquez Hunter was getting 5-6 yards a carry. And I get you want to run the RPO and you want to throw it. But just give me a simple handoff to 27 sometimes. Get the ball to your best player. And I feel like this year 8 is your best player. And I want to see him highlighted way more at the beginning of the year than he was last season.
Yeah, that wasn't a knock at Cam when I just immediately said no. I just know what I've seen. I just know what I've seen out of fall camp. And Cameron, and I know Blake's seen it. The separation that Eric Singleton Jr. is getting off the first 5 yards of line of scrimmage is unreal. Like, I mean, we've seen, like, when I say unreal, I hate comparing Auburn players to Alabama players. It's like it puts a bad taste in my mouth. We're talking about Julio Jones status separation, like getting out of there, son. Like it's impressive to me. But Blake, for Friday night's game, do you see any position group that Baylor is better in compared to Auburn's roster? And we can argue quarterbacks, but last I checked, both quarterbacks don't play on the field together at the same time. So defensively, offensively, do you see anything that Baylor's better than at Auburn Friday night? Her roster.
I think the only somewhat argument that you could possibly make would be at the linebacker spot because they are returning an absolute freak of nature. And so I just think Auburn has more talent in that room than them. I can't dismiss what they have returning, but if you wanted to make an argument, I think that would be where you got to go. I get, yes, they got Sawyer Robertson, and he threw for a bunch of yards, and they won their last 6 games. I get it, but like you said, they don't play on the field at the same time, and we know Jackson was in a tough spot last year. Whatever. I don't think offensive line to their defensive line, our defensive line to their offensive line. Their defensive backs, I really don't know how they're going to cover Auburn's wide receivers. our DBs,
They're outsized.
I feel like our DBs are going to match up well with them. I mean, our DBs, we didn't really struggle against anybody last year. And I know some people want to highlight, well, Auburn got beat for numerous plays over the top on 3rd and long. Well, a lot of that was at the beginning of the year, and certain people were on the field, and at the end of the year, those people were not on the field. And so that got a little bit corrected. And I'm not going to name any players, but we all know who that is, and I feel like it got better when those young pups got on the field and DJ let them loose. So I maybe special teams, like they are returning an All-American punt returner. Like, it's hard to find an argument for Baylor having a group better than Auburn.
Hey, look, I mean, Auburn, they added to that too, I mean, you're looking, let me pull it back up. I just seen it. We kind of went out and looked at bringing some people in to help the secondary just for some veteran guys because they were so young. But Rayshawn Pleasant, I mean, he's a preseason All-American second team and a kick returner.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he dominated at Tulane running the ball back. So I'm with you. I don't really see it now. Like you said, you could make the argument at linebacker. Sure. I mean, I'll take it, but I still would take our linebackers
for sure
any day of the week. So, all right,
sure.
Guys, it's prediction time, and I'll start it out with this and give my prediction on it. I think that they don't try to get too fancy with it at the beginning of the game. I think Hugh lets Arnold come in there, hand it off to Damari a couple times. I think Damari's going to scramble to find 3.5, 4 plays, put them in a short, third short. I could see Arnold very well on the first 3rd down, keeping it on a quarterback draw, picking up the first, possibly busting out 7, 8 yards on it, getting down, and then once we're attacking that running game at the beginning, I think that Aranda's going to start trying to throw some funky blitzes in there. And anytime you start throwing some of the funky blitzes in there, the kryptonite to that is that RPO offense. And I think that that's when we'll see our first big play from, I'm going to call it, Eric Singleton Jr. will get the first big play over the middle. I don't know if it'll be a touchdown, but look for about a 25, 30-yard game. Maybe not first drive, but it is going to happen once he starts throwing them blitzes in. And I think over 4 quarters that this team will wear them down. And I think that we'll just physically outmatch them. Every prediction I've seen has kind of just been a lot different than mine, but it's just my gut feeling in this game. I have Auburn winning this game 31-13.
I like that.
I think it's going to be a showing, and I think that it'll be about 21-3, 21-7 at halftime. And yes, Cameron, Hugh is going to play a couple quarterbacks because Deuce will come in for the 4th quarter.
Oh, yeah, that was a big topic when that came out.
31-13 is my prediction. Auburn wins.
I'll piggyback off that, and I think Auburn, like I said earlier, I think they got to go out and they got to have a dominant performance. I think that Auburn, it's close in the start of the 4th quarter. I think you're in a 24-21 game, and I think what I want to see is Auburn be able to step up and make the plays to go win a football game, because that's something that you couldn't do last season. And we can go through every game on that schedule and find a spot where Auburn was in to make a big play and they couldn't do it. And I want to see Jackson Arnold be able to run this offense, maneuver them down the field, and go get a touchdown to close this game out. I like Auburn 31-21 in Waco, Texas.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit of a slower start to it. I think Hugh's really going to hit that run game right off the bat to really increase that secondary open field range if they can start blitzing and trying to stack more people in the box. So I think it's going to start out a little slower. That's why I think it's going to be a closer game, 3rd, 4th quarter. But I'm still thinking it's going to be a 28, 21, maybe 24 game. And I'm going Auburn here strictly because Sharp 42. I bought in on that. So I'm pulling for Auburn on this one, boys.
Comment below if you want to get part of the Sharp 42 game. We'll get you hooked up. So, Yeah, well, sounds like we are 3-0 on Auburn winning this, which is what I hope that they're starting the season when they go to Norman. So, all right, looking at it, we got a couple more games we're going to run through real quick before we get off here. Thursday night and some Friday night has some juicy games to it. I like this game Thursday night, USF versus Boise State. And look, we don't have to kill the prediction on this. I'm just going to go off gut feelings. Y'all are more welcome to chime in and give it with me. I like Boise State to win this game, but don't for 1 second think that them Bulls down there, no pun intended, USF, are going to be physical, because they are. We watched this team 2 years ago and somewhat of the game last year before Alabama destroyed them, but they were physical. They are hard hitting. They play ball down there. And I think that if Boise State can come in and establish their run and passing game pretty quick and just kind of manage the game, kind of try to just make it like a Georgia and Kentucky game last year. You ain't got to be impressive. It's just one of them you got to make it through. I think it's a low-scoring game. I like Boise State in this game 21-17, and I'd probably take the under on this game.
Man, what a tough spot to be in. Boise State having to travel all the way across the country. That's brutal. And you're playing on a Thursday night, first game of the year. That's a tough spot. But I think Boise State's I think they're very well coached. I think they got some talent up there. I know they lost Genty and, the shockwaves he sent through college football last year, but I think it's a very low-scoring game. I think South Florida is very physical on the defensive side of the ball. I just can't trust their offense, y'all. I can't trust their offense. I don't know if they can muster up enough points to actually beat Boise State. So, give me Boise like 23-10. Give me Boise 23-10.
I'm going to be a little further out there than y'all. I looked up some of Boise's depth chart today on Our Lads, and they only had 2 returning or 2 transfers. Everybody else is returning. So a veteran team there. And that's why I texted you in the group message today, and I said, I'm buying in on Boise a little bit now, looking at the stats. And so one's on offense and one's on defense, and I'm not sure if it's not even a skill. One is not a skill player, I don't think. But anyways, USF had a lot of turnover. So I'm looking at Boise going down there, and it's going to be hot. It's going to be hot in Florida compared to I'm close here. I'm like 3 hours from Boise, so it's cooler up here. But I think they're going to go down there, and it's going to be like a 35-42-21 Boise.
Okay.
So 40, you said 35-42-21.
Yeah, higher scoring on Boise there.
21. The over and under on this game is set to 63.5. So me and Blake might be way off on this. Way off on it. So either way, if it's 42-21, take the under because it's 63.5. So we're all betting the under on that one if we was going to bet on it.
Yeah.
So Nebraska versus Cincinnati. And look, great value, Pat Mahomes takes on the Bearcats. I don't really know a whole lot to make of this game. I do feel confident that Nebraska will win it. The over and under is at 54.5. Nebraska by -6.5. It is at Cincinnati, but Cincinnati, man, it just seems like they haven't quite rebounded since Luke Fickell left them to go to the Wisconsin job. This might be their year, but right now I know what Matt Rule's kind of establishing out there in Nebraska. It has been perfect. It's kind of rough around the edges, but they have found a way to win a few ball games. So give me Nebraska winning that one.
I'm with you, Bryce. Give me Nebraska to cover the spread. I just think Raiola, I think he gets it going early, first game of the year. You kind of want to get off on the right foot. And Rule, I think he's the right guy for Nebraska. I really do. I don't know if they're going to be year in, year out playoff contenders, especially in the Big Ten, but I think he's the right guy. And, their defense is going to bring it. I just don't know if Cincinnati's got enough offensively to take down the Cornhuskers. So I like Nebraska. I want to say like 31-14 want to say like 31-13, 31-14, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I was thinking that 31-14 for Nebraska. I like Dylan Raiola in his it was his third year starting, I believe, second or third year. But he was decent last year. And if he's grown, more mature, got better, progressed over the offseason, I don't see no reason they should have an issue with Cincinnati. You got a pretty good bit returning from what I gathered. I think it's going to be a 31-14. Maybe they get lucky, get 21, but I think they cover it pretty easy.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll kind of follow my prediction with y'all there. I don't think I gave a score out with it, but I do have Nebraska covering. Does Nebraska score 31 points? Possibly. I kind of would see it probably more around a 28-21, 28-24. Well, if it gets 24, I guess they wouldn't cover, but I guess I see it around a 28-21 or maybe even a 28-17, something like that. So, this next game, I am betting the house on this one, and maybe I shouldn't.
Georgia Tech.
I got Georgia Tech going to Colorado. Haynes King for another year. I know they don't have Eric Singleton Jr., but they got, I believe it's Jamal Haynes is back there in the backfield with them. Guys, I don't care if the ball flies different in Colorado because you're not going to worry about it as long as Brent Keys is coach at Georgia Tech. They're going to line up and run the football down your throat. Colorado's not physical enough. Georgia Tech is -4.5. I would probably double that and say Georgia Tech wins this game easily. I've got Georgia Tech winning this ball game, probably a 24-13, 24-12 type game. Something weird. Some kind of weird score.
What's the one downfall to Colorado last year? They couldn't stop the run, and I don't think they're going to be able. I don't think they're going to be able to stop it this year either. And then you lose Travis Hunter, you lose Shador. I know you got Julian Lewis, and you got the transfer. Who they got? Salter.
Caden Salter.
Yeah, Caden Salter. So I know you got those two dudes coming in, but man, I think it's a bloodbath. I think Georgia Tech goes out there. Haynes King, I think he's grown into being a really good college quarterback. I think he can use his legs and really, really just drum this Colorado defense. I think this ends up being I think it ends up being like a 38 to 17 game, man, like 38-20, something like that. I think it's a bloodbath.
I think Georgia Tech's offense I think Georgia Tech's defense is real physical. So if Colorado can manage to score that many points on them, then they might be all right in the Big 12 this year.
So that was what I was going to say. I don't see them. So they're gonna throw deep balls pretty much. So as long as their secondary for Georgia Tech can stop the deep balls, they don't have no run game. So I'm looking at Georgia Tech, like you said, run it down their throat. 35, a weird score. They'll have a couple field goals in there, probably like 13, 35-13. They may get 17, something like that. But weird scoring game. But I think Georgia Tech is going to have a good year this year.
For sure.
And this next game coming up, I know that we're excited for it. We're all three of us are really close predominantly to this location. Southern Miss Golden Eagles versus the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Mississippi State coming to Southern Miss. We've seen this matchup before a couple years ago. I'd said a couple years ago, Kevin, the other day, and my wife was like, buddy, that's been almost 10 years ago. So it made me feel real old when she said that. When Gus and all of them went to Mississippi State and played there. I mean, went to Southern and played. But I like this game for Blake Shapen and Mississippi State to come out, play an in-state school. They need to find rhythm early in the season. And I think they have the perfect 4-game stretch to start the season. We've talked about it several times with them opening against Southern Miss, then Arizona State, and then Alcorn. Was it Alcorn State?
Alcorn,
and then Northern Illinois. Now, the Arizona State game is going to be tough, but the good thing is it's getting played in Starkville, Mississippi. So that's clutch for them. Look, Blake Shapen needs to go out, beginning the game, get comfortable, find his rhythm, hand that ball off to the some would say it's arguably, some would say it's statistically the best running back room in the conference. So run the football, get Blake Shapen comfortable. keep him protected, and come out and win this game in a fashion. Guys, I have Mississippi State winning this game 49-3. I think it's going to be that impactful.
Woo!
I like it. I like it. I like
talking
49-3. I think that, when you're looking at Southern Miss, they're still in the rebuild. I know they got hired Marshall's coach, took pretty much everybody off that roster, brought them in. But you're talking about Sunbelt versus SEC. Despite what anybody says about Southern Miss, they still have some good dudes on the defense. Mississippi State. I like Mississippi State to dominate this game, and I think Levy needs it. He's going to make a statement week 1, 49-3. I'm calling it Mississippi State wins.
I'm with you. I think Mississippi State wins this game. One thing I do want to see is I want to see Levy get off and get going, man. And I do feel like Mississippi State is that one program that I felt bad for everything that they've been through. And you were kind of rolling. The Pirate had you going. You were competitive. You were winning 8-9 games a year, and you were recruiting pretty well. You were getting some pieces out of the, to transfer in and all that good stuff. And then he tragically passes away, and you were kind of just thrown in a blender, man. And you didn't know where to turn to, and you end up getting Levy, and he comes in, and I feel like they still got a little bit to go, but I think Blake Shapen is the quarterback for you to kind of get you off on the right foot and get going. I think he's not a bad quarterback in the Southeastern Conference. I think if he can be middle of the pack, I think they actually have a really good year. Because one thing about Mississippi State, fellas, is I always know they're going to bring a defense. All right. Them boys are going to play hard, and I think they're just a little too much for Southern Miss. If I had to put a number on it, like you said, Bryce, with that running back room, I think they're a little too dominant. If I had to put a number on it, I'd say 35 to give me 35 to. Man, I don't think Southern Miss scores a lot. Give me like 35-14. Give me that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm everything you said. I agree. He passed away whenever our AD was actually transferred over to Auburn.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So we was interim position there, and that's when they brought in Zach Arnett. It's kind of It was kind of. It wasn't what they wanted to do. It was just kind of a peacekeeping deal because he was already there. They didn't want to just all of a sudden hire a new coach after everything that this Pirate done for us. So it was a bad deal. And then the team just imploded. But I think that there's a lot of hype on this game on X and all. And a lot of the podcasts, and Blake, you might know them, that SEC podcast, I listen to them guys a lot. And dude, they are just everybody's so down on State, and I agree. After the past couple of years we've had, it's hard not to be down on them. But this year, I feel like we've got a lot of depth brought in. That's what we failed at last year. We didn't have guys to go play winning football continuously, subbing in and out. It was just wear our best guys out until it was just beat down time. And so this year, I told Bryce the other day. Statistically, we are the fourth heaviest line now in FBS. So Coach Lou Holt brought in big guys. They just released a depth chart. They have 2 and 3 guys for every position on the offensive line. So that is going to increase our running game, and we have 3 good backs. I feel like for us to get to I'm calling our goal this year 6 games. I want a bowl game. That would be a great second year. They're calling it first year for Levy because last year was year 0 technically, but this second year in.
Second year
in. I'm seeing if we can get a bowl game, he's in the right direction. So I'm looking at Braylon Braxton come from Marshall. This whole team, this guy's good. I'll give it to him, but I don't think that they have what it takes to go toe-to-toe for 4 quarters. So I'm looking at a 35-13, 35-10 game for State. And they need this game dominant fashion.
Yep.
I'm really shocked that I'm the only one that pumped them up that much, but that's fine. I'll take it, man. I think
Brandon Braxton's good. Brandon Braxton's good. I'll give it to Marshall. Them guys were good last year.
So I like it, man. And look, that bowl game is certainly attainable, Cameron, especially with how injuries play out in the SEC. Coaches are going to get fired this year. I hope that it's not my coach that gets fired because I don't want to restart again. But it's going to happen. There is 2 that I have in mind that's going to happen, and I think that
real quick. Who's your hot seat? Who's your hot seat guys right now?
Oh, Sam Pittman and Mark Stoops all day long.
Okay.
Sam Pittman, Mark Stoops, and
Napier.
If the injury bug hits Florida and they go 4-8 like you projected them, then he'll be gone, buddy.
And don't let John Mateer not work out. Because if he don't work out, Brent Venables.
That's a good one. And I'm going to tell you what, LSU's not going to put up with not being in the playoffs not much longer either. But their payout is ridiculous, dude.
Yeah, it is.
They got money. They got money. So, all right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for the episode today of The Common Fan. Thank y'all so much. Please like and subscribe to the video. Blake Lane from the Auburn at the Voice of College Football is going to be doing a crossover with this show. He's going to be included on his channel. So if y'all get to listen to it there, please like and subscribe. Help us out. We're just a young podcast trying to make it, guys. Just trying to make it. So we need all the help we can get. So, Blake, thank you for having you. How can people check you out, man?
Get over there on YouTube at Auburn at the Voice of College Football. Subscribe to the channel, man. We just every 3 times a week. Usually on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and sometime on the weekend, I hop on and go live and just talk about Auburn sports. I don't only talk about college football. I talk about basketball and baseball. So I'm very involved into Auburn baseball. So get over there and check me out. And if you want to follow me on X, go find me over there at blane1526.
Heck yeah, man. Well, this has been another episode of Common Fan. Thank y'all. We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to The Common Fan. See y'all next time. Same tailgate.